Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back with another one. Shout out to Economy Media, or should I say CNBC, because they kind of partnered with each other to take talking points off of each other. But that ain't my business. Why are tech companies becoming so empty? Because of AI. Big brother AI. And they're also leaking into the healthcare sector too, which nurses are a little worried about. But it'll be a long time before they X out nursing. But let's see what's going on in the tech company. I'll say with the tech companies, tech field. Let's go.
Tech offices are emptier than ever. Nearly 30 million square feet have been vacated since 2023, when remote work was in vogue.
Commercial real estate office now in the midst of a $20 trillion downturn as companies in the Bay Area and beyond shift to remote work.
Now, with the rise of AI and widespread layoffs, this issue is intensifying even outside Silicon Valley.
America's big cities are facing major problems, many of which can be summed up by a controversial new phrase: the urban doom loop.
In places like San Francisco, commercial vacancy exceeds 34%, the highest in the country.
San Francisco is known for two things: the most deserted downtown district in America and an ever-increasing housing crisis.
Yeah, and it's still dead right now. So that's why they're using those buildings. They're trying to convert them into these goddamn luxury apartments. And they're still overpriced. And what comes next from the most... spam call. Okay. So what comes next from the empty downtown in America? So I guess that's the most deserted downtown of an urban city, large as San Francisco. So tech workers are still at home. The $17 salad place is expanding into the suburbs. So what is left in San Francisco? Piss and shit on the streets, followed by a few needles. No big deal, right? But a lot of businesses, there's still a lot of empty suites, empty stalls on the streets. Kind of like walking into a almost abandoned shopping mall. It's the same thing when you walk through the city streets of San Francisco. A lot of places closed up shop, the rent's too high, etc., etc.
This is reflected in employee
And see, this is what's spoiling these yuppies right here. I'm not gonna lie, that's the best highlight. You don't have to worry about meal prepping throughout the week because you get free lattes and free meals at work. But you're not gonna have a convention every day at work. Let's just be real. You're not gonna have this every day. But if you work at Google or Apple, you get to go to the gym for free. They have a nice luxury gym for free, similar to Equinox. But with the healthcare organization I work for, we have nice gyms and facilities as well. So we just don't get these luxurious meals.
engagement in the tech sector, which fell from 38% to 27% in just 5 years. So how are tech companies becoming empty? And what consequences could this have for the economy? What was once synonymous with growth, energy, and vibrant innovation hubs is now marked by silence, vacancy, and downsizing. The world's leading tech companies, which for years competed for talent, space, and expansion, are now undergoing a calculated retreat. Empty offices, closed cafeterias, and disintegrating corporate cultures are now part of the new landscape. Between 2022 and 2025, the tech sector has undergone a profound transformation. In less than 3 years, mass layoffs, office sales, and the strategic shift toward AI by big tech have hollowed out the industry from within. What was once expansion and vibrant culture is now reduction, distance, and silence.
Yeah. And see, a lot of these places are being constructed for no reason. Like a lot of these buildings end up being abandoned right in the middle of the project because they either ran out of money or whatever company that thought they were going to use the building decided to just cut ties on the project. Like, we're not going to use this.
This not only redefines the identity of the tech industry, but also its role in the global economy. According to a study, more than 525,000 tech workers.
Yeah. And see, with all the liberals and everything, you have to be this type of person. And see, these are pretty much the type of people that they're going to hire for these type of jobs. You have to look like this. You have to be out of the norm. Pinkish, blue hair, the bull ring, and a few extra pounds. Hefty, hefty. But I'm not talking shit. Because one of y'all watching this video will hit that and lie and say you didn't.
Were laid off worldwide between January 2022 and June 2025, and the trend continues.
News came out this morning that they're laying off roughly 9,000 employees. Now, while that cut is less than 4% of its global workforce, you have to put it in context with the other cuts it's made over the course of the past year.
In the United States alone, over 310,000 tech employees lost their jobs during this period, marking a labor contraction not seen since the dot-com crisis. The leading firms spearheaded this restructuring. Meta, Amazon, and Google laid off hundreds of thousands of workers in an attempt to readjust their structures following the exponential growth during the pandemic. What stood out in this phase was that the cuts weren't limited to peripheral or underperforming areas. They reached key departments such as recruitment, human resources, and even engineering.
Wow. So they're not going for the regulars, meaning like they're not going for the ones that, let's say, tech desk help. I can't think of the exact name for it. Desktop support. There you go. They're going for the bigger ones. They're going for HR and recruitment positions. So they're going for salary paid people that they're cutting. And as we all know, none of these companies offer unionized positions because these people are pretty much administration, and you don't get to be part of a union if you're in administration.
At Meta, for example, nearly 50% of the recruitment team was eliminated during the first 2 rounds of layoffs. This contraction directly impacted office occupancy, with entire floors shutting down or being subleased after once being bustling with activity.
As Americans continue working from home, several U.S. cities are having trouble filling office space.
Thus, emptiness ceased to be a metaphor and became a visible physical reality across tech campuses. One of the most evident transformations of the tech hollowing out is the reduction in the use of physical space. Although remote work was already common in the sector before the pandemic's outbreak accelerated the widespread adoption of this model. In 2020, nearly 90% of tech workers in the U.S. switched to working from home. And while a gradual return to offices was expected, that return never fully materialized.
Early in the pandemic, a lot of office sector workers started working from home. And here we are 3 years later, many of them are.
Now look at those nice lavish dinners we get to have with our colleagues. Even though half of them probably can't even stand each other. They're just trying to make the cut, get through the day, go home to their beloved family, right? But then again, do you really want to go to the office to be around these people when you can just work remotely and stay to yourself? You don't have to commute 2 hours back and forth to work. And you have to remember, most of these people that work in these jobs don't live close to home. Half of these people live with family or they live by themselves further out. So it's not all good in this picture right here. The food and drinks might look good, but overall, these people live toxic lives.
Still working from home at least some of the time.
According to a report, by 2023, only 26% of tech employees in the U.S. were going to the office 3 or more days a week. Office occupancy figures reflected this shift. In San Francisco, one of the sector's traditional hubs, office occupancy was just 39% in the second quarter of 2023. In Seattle, another major tech center, occupancy was even lower. Only 33% of office space was in use at the beginning of 2024. This situation led companies to significantly reduce their real estate footprint. Meta canceled leases for 435,000 square feet of office space in Manhattan in 2023. Salesforce, meanwhile, vacated or subleased more than 700,000 square feet in San Francisco between 2022 and 2024. According to a report, the tech industry returned more than 30 million square feet of office space in the U.S. since early 2022. This represents an 18% drop in the total space occupied by tech companies nationwide.
Many American offices are sitting empty.
New numbers showing 94 million square feet of empty office space in Manhattan. That is an all-time record.
This reduction not only affects the urban landscape, but also symbolizes a structural change in how companies understand work. Tech companies are not only reducing their physical spaces and headcounts, they are also redefining their management models. If the previous decade's mantra was grow at all costs, today the focus has shifted to do more with less, with strong pressure from investors to cut costs. Meta, for example, declared 2023 its year of efficiency, which translated into cuts to administrative staff and the reduction of internal programs. Google.
I mean, most of these people, they have other things going on outside of working for these tech companies. Like a lot of them have big investments in crypto and Bitcoin and all that. And on top of that, they're probably pushing a startup of their own. They're probably just using the resources from these big companies to do their own startup. Whether it's a security firmware or something, people are always starting their own little companies.
Google restructured several departments to eliminate redundancies, focusing on keeping only roles directly tied to engineering or financial results. Amazon cut its experimental initiatives and concentrated resources on its most profitable units, eliminating many internal support and innovation teams. According to a McKinsey report published in 2024, the average tech company reduced its workforce by 12% compared to its 2021 peak. However, it increased its revenue per employee by 19%, a clear indicator of leaner, results-driven operations.
Google now offering some voluntary buyouts to employees across several divisions, even hitting its core search and advertising units.
As part of this transformation, many companies eliminated iconic perks of tech culture.
Look at this, lavish luxury. So nice. And these are the perks you get. And see, this is why they tell you your colleagues are not your friends, because it's all good until they tell you they don't need you no more. And then whatever friendships that you thought you established at your job, you're not going to hear from these people no more in a few weeks, because what happened is pretty much too embarrassing and too humiliating. So everybody moves on with their lives and you guys don't talk to each other anymore. Maybe every now and then you guys might run into each other at the mall or Safeway or somewhere, or Costco. But don't expect too much more after that.
Perks ranging from free meals to social activities were all cut. Together, these cuts not only streamlined budgets, but also contributed to a more distant, cold, and depersonalized work environment. The impact of this hollowing out goes far beyond corporate walls. Entire cities have seen the disappearance of the workforce flows that once energized their local economies. In San Francisco, the commercial vacancy rate reached 34% in 2024, the highest in the country.
Wow.
This phenomenon has triggered ripple effects on small businesses and services that depended on the tech ecosystem. Laundromats, gyms, and downtown shops report revenue drops between 50% and 70% compared to pre-pandemic levels. Public transportation usage in areas like San Jose has fallen by 60%. These changes have directly impacted public finances.
All these empty offices aren't just a waste of space. They mean less rent for owners, lower tax revenue for cities, and the decline of entire neighborhoods.
And see, the problem is the answer isn't just whack it down, because a lot of these buildings have good bones, let alone some of these buildings are fairly new. So why would you tear down a fairly new building or a building that's in good shape? It's expensive to do that. So instead, you could just turn them into luxury apartments. It's not the worst idea, but the thing is, these won't be affordable home units, because you know the rents are going to be range from $3,000 to $4,000, and most people don't even make that in a month.
San Francisco's budget faced a deficit of more than $800 million in 2024, largely due to the loss of tax revenue from commercial real estate. A study by Moody's estimated that the decline in tech office occupancy could reduce the local GDP of major tech cities by 4 to 6% annually. This impact could persist over the next decade if the trend continues. What was once an economic engine is now perceived as a structural void that threatens urban sustainability. Real estate experts warn that many of these facilities were designed so specifically for tech needs that they are difficult to repurpose. This presents challenges for cities that had invested in urban developments centered around daily activity in tech campuses. Now they face a void that is not only physical, but also symbolic.
Wow. So yeah, you guys, that's risky business to avoid these large commercial properties. And then when things are going on like this, when companies are pulling out from them, they're hard to repurpose these buildings, these spaces. They don't know what to do with them. They rather let it sit empty rather than open it up to the homeless or do something with it. So a lot of these buildings are going to be empty in the next 5-10 years. So you're just going to have all these empty buildings. What a waste of space. But anyway, this is Kai Vale. Hope you learned something. See you in the next video. Peace.